It all comes down to this. After 7 weeks of racing action, the championship fight falls down to the final hurdle. 3 races coming your way. 75 championship points are on offer, and only 15 points separate our 2 championship contenders at the very top of the order. This evening, it is all about Jack Pittas and about Ben Outra. Outra has been dominating this championship all the way through the series. He has taken 6 race victories to his name over the course of the previous 18 races. He has won at every single week of asking, excluding the first round at Okayama and last week at Willow Springs. He'll be hoping to return back to the top step this evening. He'll have his work cut out for him, though, as Jack Pittas is the fastest man in the practice session that is currently ongoing in the background. It took Pittas most of the season to take his first win. It wasn't until race number 2 at round 5 that he finally managed to cross the timing line as race winner. He went on to take a second win of the season in the opening race of the day 2 weeks ago at Willow Springs. It now comes down to this. Who is going to find their way on top at the end of this evening? And as it stands, as I say, Ben Outra on top of the board, 284 points to his name. Pittas sits 15 points behind, 269 points on his name. Now, that is not by any means discounting Pittas. He has been able to pull back this championship after, again, not winning until round number 5. He's constantly been on the edge, and after Wilson Weir's demise at Willow Springs, it's taken him not mathematically out of the championship, being 53 points behind Ben Outra. He is on the outer reaches of the championship. However, he can be discounted after the first race of the day. It's going to be a lot harder for Outra to take the championship in the first race of the day, though. In fact, mathematically, it would not be possible. He can only do it by the end of race number 2. Pittas, though, will be hoping that he can find points on the board in the opening 2 races over his championship rival so that he can find his way on top in the final race of the season. Isaac Doble has missed a couple of weeks, but he has also taken a number of wins this season, and he is sitting 4th position. And here, once again, he'll be trying to keep his points over Lee Horn, who sits less than 20 points back. No Jamie Dory as it stands, which will be a surprise if we don't see Dory out on track. But he sits just a single point behind Horn going into this one. 6 points clear of Nick Clibbins. Phil McDougall is, though, out there. Will be looking to do something with his 150 points. He could find his way up into the top 5 if he has a good evening of racing. Now, as this is all going, in the background, as I say, there is a practice session that is currently going on. And you can see on the left-hand side, I was saying before, that Pittas was the fastest of them all. Well, he's been knocked down by his own teammate, Wilson Weir, but now by Ben Outra in the last minute or so. That change has happened. 3 thousandths of a second between them. Over on Facebook, good evening to everyone that is joining us over there. We've got Robert once more wishing luck towards Jack, looking to try and take that title. Jack's got a lot of support over there on Facebook. Daniel, Ian as well, wishing luck. Peter also wishing luck out there as well. Let's see who is going to end up on top in the next 2.5 hours of racing. Practice coming over towards the end then. 10 more minutes, and what a season it has been here around the Toyota GR86 Cup. After picking up off of the back of the legends, of course, we stepped in to the Toyota GR86s on March the 3rd at Okayama. What an evening of racing that was to kick off the season's worth of competition. And from his only pole position, Adam Wilson Weir went on to take his only race win of the season. William Guthrie then had a good race number 2 back at Okayama before Lee Horn rounded it all out with his first win of the season as well. We then headed across stateside and to Portland, where it was Pittas getting his one and only pole position of the season. He was unable to convert it to victory in any of the 3 races. It ended up being a double for Outra in race 1 and race 3. Nick Clibbins picking up the middle race on that one. We then headed across to the Italian countryside. Mugello for the 3rd round of asking, and Isaac Doble went on to pole position for his one and only time of the season. He went on to turn that into race victory. He also took the double in race 1 and 3, with race number 2 going the way of your championship leader, Ben Outra. We then headed across to Germany, round number 4, Hockenheimring. We ran the outer layout, of course, and it created some great drafting, some great racing all the way through the evening. It was Nick Clibbins who placed that one on pole position. It was Ben Outra, though, who went on to race number 1. Clibbins crawled it back into race number 2, and Outra went on to win race number 3 once more. We then headed across to Belgium, not to Spa-Francorchamps, instead to the lesser-known circuit of Zolder. What a great run that was at the alternate layout. It was the first rollover of the season, where we saw Jamie Dory ending up over on his roof in what was the biggest event of the season regarding safety cars. We saw a number of those out, including a very late race safety car in that one. It was then a victory in the end for Ben Outra after Jordan got his one and only pole of the season. He was unable to convert that into race victory in any of them, because it was Pittas who went on to win his first race of the season in race 2 at Zolder. Max Andrews went on to win race number 3. 2 weeks ago, we headed out for round number 6 at Willow Springs, and for the second time on the season, it was the first man to take repeat pole positions. Nick Clibbins went on top of the board there. He will not be here racing tonight, unfortunately, which means that my statistic of him taking home race number 2s will not continue as the season progresses, but he has had a great job at taking race number 2s, because after Pittas took home race victory in race 1, it was Nick Clibbins who took home his 3rd race of win of the season in race number 2. Lee Horn, finally back on top, went home for victory at Willow Springs in the final race of the day. Here we are then at Interlagos, and it is all going to come down to here. A circuit that is so familiar for championship fights, to come down to the wire when we think about real world racing. We're here in the virtual Interlagos circuit, of course, and we will have a virtual battle to the wire. It is going to be an absolutely fantastic evening of racing, there is no doubt. It is going to be close between Outra and Pittas all evening long. 0.003 of a second separating them, and after not seeing him in the evening earlier on, we do see Jamie Dory out there now, which is excellent news, because it does mean we are going to see Dory try to contend, as we look back at that championship list, try to contend in the midfield. He is going for 4th position in this one, ahead of Isaac Doble. Doble could mathematically get past Adam Wilson-Weir here, but Wilson-Weir is the fastest in this practice session, and if he goes on to win and do really well across this evening, you know he's going to be looking back at last week and thinking, what if? What if it didn't go the way that it did? Now, in addition to having pressures out there on the track for our championship contenders and for our other drivers trying to do anything they can with their final set of races in the championship order, they've also got more than just that to contend with. Heat waves across Britain here means that all of our drivers are going to be struggling, and in the UK and Ireland, of course, it has been incredibly warm today. The humidity is making it quite difficult, so a lot of drivers have actually backed out of this evening due to the extreme heat, which means that drivers that are going down there, they'll be wanting to make sure that they are well hydrated across the 3 every event. Luckily for them, they will have a break of about 15 minutes by the time we get into the second race after the first race is done, and again after race number 2. They do have a bit of time in which they can go and get a drink, they can cool down, they can refresh, they can get back onto track. Hopefully though, the hot temperatures won't lead to hot tempers and seeing any moves that could lead to disastrous results when it comes to the championship. With 5 minutes left in this practice session, it is very close between Oucher and Pittas. Doble looking to try and do something with his points though, and Wilson Weir, he's on the outer fringes. He's the fastest in this practice session right now. He is on the outer fringes of the championship mathematically, still involved in it realistically. I just don't think it's going to be there for the Irish driver, unfortunately for him. Now then, we prepare to go racing for this one, which is going to be, as always, 3 races coming your way. With race number 1 going to be set by our upcoming qualifying session. It's going to be about 15 minutes of racing action. We will then be heading across to race number 2, which will be the same length. Race number 3 then is where we are going to see the longer 25-minute estimated race. Now, race number 2, you're going to see what would be the top 15 inverted, but as you can see, there's 11 drivers in this one. Thompson stepping at the end. There's 12 drivers in this one, which means in both races today, to spice it up a little bit, we're going to have full invert fields, which means our drivers are going to have work to do to get from the back end of the field to the front end of the field in all the races, especially if you're going to try and take podiums in all 3 of the races this evening, which I know that are championship contenders, the top 3 in the championship, currently the top 3 in this practice session. They will certainly be wanting to try and find their way onto the podium in all 3 of the races this evening. We see the standings on the right-hand side. Your championship contenders are there, but this is very much an Oucher and Pittas showdown. Who is going to find their way to the top of the order by the end of this one? No matter who it's going to be, it has been a fantastic season of racing, and Pittas's consistency is what has allowed this season to be so close come the end of this one, because we do have a championship fight to the end, despite Oucher taking 6 race victories over the course of this season, and with Pittas taking, I would say, only 2, but he has taken 2 race victories over the course of this season, which I think is, in a very competitive event, it is still a very good achievement. There has been 3 drivers to have taken 1 race victory apiece. That was Max Andrews, William Guthrie and Adam Wilson Weir. 3 drivers to have taken 2 apiece. Isaac Doble, Jack Pittas and Lee Horn. Nick Clibbins has taken 3, and Ben Oucher, double that of Clibbins, has taken 6. He will be looking at trying to extend that again this evening. He's not won since the first race at Zolder. It has been 5 individual races since he found his way to the top. For Pittas, it has only been 2. He has won in both of the previous weeks of asking. Race number 2 at Zolder, race number 1 at Willow Springs. We are preparing to go out for qualifying, and I do apologise if you do hear a little bit of background noise this evening. As I say, it's very hot here, and we do have a number of fans in the commentary booth here this evening, with 7 PC screens running, 2 computers up and running as well. It is very, very hot in this room. Therefore, even with multiple fans going, it is still very, very warm. So apologise if you do hear any of the background noise as I look around the room. Right then, we do have 12 drivers looking like they are going to be ready to go down into the qualifying session to get this season over and done with. And I say over and done with, it has been a great season. And we are looking forward to seeing how it is going to go for each and every one of our drivers out there this evening. Ones that have been taking part all season long, our championship contenders. Doble, who's been here most of the season. We got Lee Horn, Mark Hughes, McDougall Stock. I mean, Mason, Dory, Thompson. They're familiar names, not just in the Toyotas, but of course in NXTGEN itself, racing in a variety of leagues. You've also got Thomas Potter heading out there. He stepped in. I can't remember if it's a week or well, Willow Springs or Zolder that he stepped in for the first time, but Thomas Potter heading out there as well this evening. It was last week, in fact, Willow Springs, that Potter headed out for the first time. It'll be nice to see what Teapot is able to do this evening. He is fifth fastest in this session, and outside of Adam Wilson-Weir, who sits 0.3 quicker than anybody else, you'd have to say it is then the top 9 that are all within 1 second of each other, discounting Wilson-Weir's very strong lap time on that one. Okay, then, we've got support over on the Facebook as well from Rob, supporting Lee Horn, Jamie Dory out there as we do go down here for the qualifying session. Drivers are heading out for the first time in this qualifying session to try and put lap times onto the board to see what they can do. And it is Thomas Potter, the first man that is going to be out onto the racing surface. He is leading everybody else, and he doesn't like that fact. He pulls over to the side, and he allows Isaac Doble to move into the lead of this one. 2 real-life racing drivers, of course. Doble taking part out there this weekend. In fact, I remember watching him around the Snetterton circuit. I'm not too sure the last time that Teapot went out onto the track. I think it might have been this weekend, in fact, that he was out there as well. But he now regains the lead in this train of drivers that sees Doble drop back down to second. Now, this is going to be important, who is at the front and who is at the back, because you've got some very long straightaways here at Interlagos. Of course, you are going to be held up through these slower sections, the infield, but the run out of the final turn up towards the front straight, you're going to want to have the toe. Same with out of the center S up towards turn number 4. You are going to want to have that toe to support you. For Thomas Potter, though, he is not going to have the toe to support him. It is Isaac Doble who is going to have that toe behind, and then it is the very shiny Lee Horn who is in the middle of this pack as well, and Lee Horn is going to be the man who takes us around Interlagos for the first time this evening, so we can see a lap of the Brazilian circuit. We head up towards the center S. We go all the way to the right-hand side of the circuit to maximize corner entry. You can really run over these curbings. You can straight away see how Potter has come under attack from Doble, just catching up along the straight through the toe. Very different lines being run by all 3 of our drivers through the center S as we now head up towards the final turn, the final turn of sector 1 as we go in towards the second sector of Asking. A little bit more curbing from Potter than any of the other 2 behind, but Horn keeping that wheel as light as he can, trying to make it a smooth running as we now go into the double right-hander up the hill here. Easy to push your car out wide and invalidate your lap time. That's exactly what happens there for Potter. He backs out of it, and he allows Isaac Doble and Lee Horn to go on through. What this does mean is Doble will now not get the support at the end of the lap, which is more crucial, I would say, than the beginning of the lap. You can see how Horn is now at a disadvantage in the infield. He is running faster than Doble through there, but he can't go for the overtake, so he's losing a little bit of time by sitting behind the number 65 machine. We come out of the final braking point. It's a little bit wide there from Doble. This lap is not counting for Isaac Doble, but I think he is just there to give the support to Lee Horn at this point. When is he going to back out? Because if he backs out too late, he will give up time on the next lap as well. I think that might be what's going to happen here. He might want to try and stay ahead. He moves over to the side, and the next lap is going to be a little bit slower for him because he's once again not going to have that support. We go across the timing line, and you can see on the left-hand side as the train of drivers filing behind, Doble goes off at turn number 2. He bounces back on, he wobbles, and almost collected by Jamie Dory there. Big moment in qualifying. We'll have to have another look at this one. We ride on board with Dory in towards turn number 1. That's Doble overdriving turn 1. Out of turn number 2, he bounces, he loses. Dory thinks he's going to swing to the left. That's definitely what happened there. And then he didn't. He held it, and Dory just abandoned his lap all the way to the right-hand side. And he's thrown away quite a nice tow train that he was part of. Heading in towards this qualifying session with no practice, Max Andrews getting out there and looking forward to seeing what he can do in the number 14 machine. If he can place himself any higher up the order than where he has been previously. He took home race victory in race number 3 of the day at Zolder, of course. That full invert coming to help him out there. As we watch, Isaac Doble has invalidated this lap time, of course, and for Ben Outra, he's feeling quite alone right now. He has got no support on his qualifying laps, which is going to have a significant impact on his qualifying time here. It could be the difference between being the front of the grid or being at the very back of the grid. This is brilliant news, though, for Jack Pittas. Pittas right now is the driver who is leading the way at the very front of all of this fun as we come up towards the timing line. He is going to back out of this lap. He'll drop in behind. What that does mean is this lap will not be competitive for him. We'll have a go again when we go on to his 4th lap of asking. This is Isaac Doble now going for a competitive lap time. Throwing himself off at turn number 1, of course. Didn't help himself out. He's got Potter just up ahead in front of him again. Potter, though, did look slow. Doble looked to the left, goes back to the right. I don't think he wants to be behind Potter here, and Potter knows that. He drives off the circuit, and as you can see, a couple of drivers doing that, jumping off the circuit to get out of the way as to not hold anyone up. And then the entire right-hand side of the circuit. I thought we had just gone into slow-mo for a moment there. The entire right-hand side of the circuit coming very slowly through, getting onto the brakes there, and it's going to back them all up. Nigel Stock is yet to get a lap time on the board, as is Lewis Mason and Carl Thompson, but they don't look like they're still in this session at this second, but we're hoping that they will get into the session before the end of this one and get onto the grid for the first of our 3 races today in the final round of asking. If you're just joining us, the championship fight is coming down to the wire here, as we've got just 3 more races left to go. Ben Outra leading the championship, 15 points clear of Jack Pittas. It is then a jump back down to Adam Wilson-Weir. Mathematically still in this championship. Realistically, however, not so much. And you can see the gap between each of them there on the right-hand side as we have a look at that live championship, and of course that will be changing throughout the event. We will keep an eye on how that is, and we'll see if Adam Wilson-Weir, if he is more than 50 points behind at the end of the first race of the day, he will be out of championship contention at the very top of the order. He is second fastest here right now, 8 thousandths of a second quicker than Teapot, but it is Lee Horn at the very top of the order right now, 600ths of a second ahead of Wilson-Weir. Both of those drivers have taken victory this season. Wilson-Weir did it all the way back at the first round of the season. Is he going to end it with a little bit of a sandwich and take pole position at the first and final rounds? Well, that is going to be Wilson-Weir. I believe that was Wilson-Weir jumping off the circuit. No. That was Wilson-Weir's teammate Pittas, championship contender, jumping off of the circuit there. This is Adam Wilson-Weir in the very multicoloured Type 2 machine, the number 22. going out there to try and take win number 2 of the season after taking win number 1 all the way back, not only at round number 1, but the first race of the season as well. We come out of the final turn there, and I do apologise if occasionally it goes a little bit silent for just a moment here on the broadcast. As I say, it's very, very hot, and I do need a drink every now and again with the temperatures rising. Cooler, in fact, as Adam Wilson-Weir comes down pit lane. Doble trying to maximise his time there, almost into the pit wall in trying to find all that he could. And in fact, I think it invalidated his lap time, clipping the pit wall during that manoeuvre. But yeah, it's actually cooler here, surprisingly, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, in the virtual Sao Paulo, Brazil, of course, than it is in the real UK for our drivers right now. 24 degrees in the air. The track temperature, however, up at 34 degrees is a little bit toasty for them out there, but nothing compared to what we've seen earlier on in the season as well, where temperatures have climbed exceedingly high throughout the course of the season, especially those track temperatures. And I believe at one point we were up in 60 degrees, I believe it was. I can't remember where, but it was certainly extremely high at some point in the season. We come through, though, the infield section of Interlagos, and if you know the Interlagos circuit quite well, you'll know that this section of the circuit has been there since the infield was introduced. However, there are certain sections that have been erased and certain sections that have been added. And of course, as we head out towards the final braking zone, this is where the oval of the old Interlagos circuit used to connect to if you wanted to run all the way around. And I do like, there you go, you can see the oval connecting on the right hand side there. I do like the old oval of this one. I do like the old circuit as well. If you like historic circuits, then there are certain sims out there that will really help you get into those historic circuits, where here you can get into some of those older cars. You know, the Lotuses, you've got the old Formula 1 cars in those Lotuses. You've got the old, some of the older cars, but for the most part, it's modern stuff. It's things that you do get out there nowadays. The circuits are all laser scan and therefore all modern as well. Of course, you do have some older versions of circuit. You think Silverstone, for example. We do have the old layout of Silverstone, but that was, again, laser scan. But if you want to jump back, you know, 50, 60 years ago, even at this point, 70 years ago, in some of the cars that they were racing, some of the tracks that they were racing at, there are some great sims out there that allow you to do that. My favorite, and there's no way an endorsement in it, but growing up, I was always, well, I wouldn't say always growing up. However, a lot of the time I was on Automobilista, the first one of that. And you know, I loved getting out there on the Interlagos circuit in the old stock cars, the Brazilian stock cars, around not only the oval circuit, but the infield here as well, which is a lot longer when they first introduced the infield at Interlagos. It was about twice the length that it is now, and parts of it ran in the opposite direction to what we actually run it now, which is quite cool to think about. But yeah, it's nice to get down into those classic ones, of course, and that's just a personal experience of mine. I'm not a very good racer, so I might as well go into some of the slower cars. I can blame it on old machinery when I hit a wall that way. However, here in the commentary booth and in iRacing, we sit in the modern cars, we sit with the modern technology, and it is Isaac Doble trying to use some toe out of the final corner to pull himself along. He is only 8th position in this session right now, but I mean, it is still better than championship contender Ben Oucher, who is finding himself all the way down in 9th position. With Jack Pittas up in 4th, this is going to help Pittas out in the championship. For Doble, he came across the timing line. It was a 10th of a second slower than his previous best. Ben Oucher finds just a little bit of time on that previous lap of asking. He goes 7th fastest in this session, and that right now is going to be 3 places behind his championship contender. Horn is out there on provisional pole position, looking to take his first pole position of the season. And And you can see how close it is between those top 3. But that huge train of cars that started this qualifying session, that has slowly thinned out as the session has gone on. And we are now sitting with a train of cars that is mostly looking like it's only a couple of cars involved. And that was Pittas and Potter. But that being said, Pittas pulls off to the side here to try and get back into the train of cars. This is Adam Wilson-Weir. He does not have an issue. This is up towards the final braking point. The Type 2 machine is waiting for some tow. Is he going to take advantage of Thompson as he comes out of the final corner? He is going to get the distant tow from Kyle Thompson here, who's looking to get his first lap time onto the board. We come out of the final turn and up towards the timing line here. Can Adam Wilson-Weir find that 600th of a second that he needs to get on to pole position? He had to go up with Thompson, but it's not going to help him out in the long run because he will still be left on his own going on to his final qualifying lap of the session. He does get the tow along the back straight, but that timing line right at the end of the straight means he's not going to find the advantage, and he overdrives. At turn number 1, Wilson-Weir will not go faster. And as everyone else comes across the timing line, I think that Thompson now is the only driver who can put in a faster lap. But that being said, he is out of this session as well. That is going to be qualifying over and done with then here at Interlagos. It does look like Adam Wilson-Weir is still out there, placing his car around for a lap, but not only is he massively at a detriment to his fastest lap, he is also falling down the order with his time. Sorry, he was falling down the order with his time. I should say he invalidated his lap as well. But that being said, he will hold on to second in the qualifying order. And as drivers do come around for the end of this qualifying session, this is how race number 1 is going to line up. Lee Horn is going to be starting in pole position ahead of Adam Wilson-Weir. 600ths of a second separating your 2 drivers on the front row, and it is only 0.08 of a second back to Thomas Potter, who will be starting in 3rd. Jack Pittas will be on the grid in 4th position. He is 600ths of a second further back. And another 400ths back is Jamie Dory. He'll be on 5th position. Mark Hughes is then only 1.5 hundredths of a second behind Jamie Dory. And that rounds out your top 6. We then jump down a little bit of a gap, and I really do mean just a little bit of a gap, to Ben Oucher. Oucher will not be happy that he'll be starting on 7th position, 3 positions behind championship rival in Jack Pittas. Phil McDougall will be starting in 8th. Doble, not a great lap time for him, will be starting in 9th. Max Andrews, no practice, he'll be starting on 10th on the grid. It'll be Nigel Stock in 11th. If we see them down on track, which hopefully we will, it will be Lewis Mason and then Carl Thompson. Qualifying then over and done with for the final time this season. We won't see the Toyotas back out again in a qualifying session before this championship is decided. But we do have 3 races on the line, with race number 1 lining up as we just talked through on that grid. Race number 2 will see a full invert as our drivers will get themselves down onto the track in reverse order from their race 1 results. We will then see with race number 3 another full invert from the results of race number 2. It's going to keep it nice and interesting, there is no doubt about that. And as the championship is going to be decided, it cannot be decided in the first race of the day. And at the moment, with Pittas outscoring Oucher, it might not be decided in race number 2 either. This is how the championship lines up going into this final race of the day. If we can get it up, there we go. Ben Oucher. As it stands, if the race was to end the way that it is now, Pittas would be down to 10 points behind, which means if the races were to finish this way in all 3 races, they would be tied on points, and Pittas would lose out on counts back with only 2 victories compared to Oucher's 6. That is all hypothetical, of course, though, and we will prepare to go racing once our drivers have made their way onto the grid, and they will get themselves underway for what is going to be the 3rd to last time this season. Drivers then are lining up on the grid, preparing for racing action. Lee Horn lining up from pole position for the first time this season. It does mean that Clibbins will walk away out of this championship the only man to have taken more than 1 pole position across the course of the evening. With 15 minutes on the board, we are looking at 9 laps of racing action. This first race is decided by time, I believe. Yes, it is decided by time, not by laps. But the lights are up and we prepare to go racing here at Interlagos. We are green and we are away for the 3rd to last time here. Round number 7 is a go. The championship fight is on as we head up towards turn number 1. It is side by side for 2nd, but Potter gets a good launch off the line and has jumped past Wilson Weir at the start. Mark Hughes trying to keep ahead of Phil McDougall, and off the starting line, Ben Oucher has done everything that he's needed to put himself back up towards Pittas. Oucher in 5th. Pittas now directly ahead in 4th position. Behind, there is some bump drafting going on up towards turn number 4. It's also side by side up at the front as well as Thomas Potter looking to try and take the lead past Lee Horn. Jack Pittas goes past teammate Adam Wilson Weir. Wilson Weir still mathematically in the championship. Is he going to take the fight to the boys behind, or is he going to be trying to help out his teammate? He sits ahead of both of them at the moment, gets slowed onto the racing line, but he runs deep. Oucher has overtaken Pittas, but Pittas is not going to take it lying down. He's going to push hard to try and come back into the championship fight here. He's going to switch across to the inside. Oucher goes late on the defence, and he holds on to 4th position. Pittas in 5th now, but with the toe that we're going to see on the main straight and out of turn number 3, don't think that this fight is anything except from ongoing throughout the course of the 15 minutes. Out of the final turn, though, straight away, Ben Oucher is going to find himself in a pincer manoeuvre. We're going to go 3 wide out of the final turn and up towards turn number 1. We joked about going 4 wide into turn 1. Are they going to make it a reality? We head up to turn 1 for the 2nd time here. On lap number 2 we go. Up towards the opening lap. Pittas looking to try and get back past Oucher. It's Potter to the inside of Oucher now. Wilson Weir keeps his nose in. Somehow they make it through. A little bit of a tap. And Jamie Dorey has found his way past Pittas and Wilson Weir. Now looking to get past Oucher as well. Potter moves to the left-hand side and is going to get the bump from Dorey up towards turn number 3. Oucher on the outside line here could make his way up to 2nd place. Potter's going to fight it hard, though, on the inside to try and hold on to 2nd right now. He's done so, but Oucher has the overlap. Pittas is directly behind Oucher here. He's got back past Dorey. As we go into turn number 6, the double right-hander. Potter falls behind Oucher. Here comes Pittas to the inside of Potter. He doesn't want to lose touch with Oucher in this race. He needs to outscore Oucher as best that he can in the opening couple of races here to give himself the best opportunity into the final race of the day. As I say, mathematically, it is not possible for Oucher to win the championship in the first race this evening. However, with the points opening up once more, as they will be right now, with up to 22 points as it stands. He only needs a gap of 25 points after the second race of the day, and he will be the champion for this season. We come out of the final turn though. Oucher is not giving up. Is he going to be bump drafting Potter? He is. He's going to be using Potter here to try and catch up towards the leading two. Oucher goes to the inside on Lee Horn. Pittas to the outside of Potter. Oucher backs out of it. So does Pittas as well. They've decided that the fight is not worth it in towards turn number one. Oucher overdrives at turn one. It'll send him wide out of turn number two there. And now he has got Potter all over his rear. Pittas will be hoping that Potter goes for the move. Pittas doesn't go for it himself on Potter, but it has brought these leading four all back together again. That gap had opened up, even if just slightly. It is now closed down once again here. Potter goes defensive up towards turn number 6. He'll have a Pittas to his outside. Pittas is going the long way round, but you can carry more speed on that long way round. Oucher for a moment looked like he might have tried on Horn. Couldn't quite do that. Potter's got the inside on Pittas, but it will switch across, of course. The outside line, though, you can put your foot down a little bit earlier. That's exactly what Potter tried to do, and he is going to place his car back up the inside of Pittas here. This is not what Jack Pittas wants, is to be fighting anyone else out there, but he does confirm his overtake past Potter as we come up towards the final braking zone on the circuit. Lee Horn, Ben Oucher once again fighting out for the lead as we come through the final turn. We look on the rear bumper of Lee Horn. We can see Oucher chasing in. He's giving him the bump as we go up towards turn number 1. He doesn't want Pittas and Potter to be bumping along and catching up to him as we come up towards turn 1 now. What lines are they going to go? Are they going to stay in single file? Pittas putting his car to the inside because he does have Potter once again on a slightly different line as they try to fight it out. But here comes Pittas. This is what he needs now. He needs to get past and outscore Oucher. Oucher looks to the inside of Horn. Pittas pushing along. Is he going to make it 3 wide? Potter doesn't know where to go as Pittas just pushes Oucher into the lead. He moves to himself into second position. It is championship leader at the front of the order. It is Pittas behind in second, but this fight is far from over. Pittas goes for the wide entrance. He's going to try and switch it back through the corner. But Ben Oucher now leading the way as Lee Horn tucks his nose to the inside. He takes out championship contender Jack Pittas. Lee Horn, I think that was touched there. We're going to have to watch that again. There's more issues around the corner. We're going to have to sit on board here for Lee Horn. Was it contact? It looked like it might have been a slight nudge, but at the same time, it looks like it might have been overdriving, and then it was Pittas' teammate, Adam Wilson-Weir, who then came together with Max Andrews, and the two of them went around in the next corner. What that does mean now is Ben Oucher is leading by a second. Phil McDougall is pushing on the rear end of Lee Horn, who's down a third. This is how the championship is going to look as it stands. Ben Oucher is going to be 31 points in the clear at the end of race number 1, which means all he needs to do is not get outscored in the second race by 6 points, and he will take the championship. This is gone exactly the way Ben Oucher would have wanted to, not the way that Jack Pittas would have wanted to, because he has fallen down to 7th and is 3 seconds away from the next set of fights up to 3rd. He'll be wanting to try and recover as best as he can. 7 minutes left on the board here. McDougall is holding off Potter and Horn in the fight for third position. Horn to the inside of Potter as we come up towards the braking zone, where we saw the contact just a lap ago that has completely changed the championship fight. Potter keeps himself clear as Pittas now falls behind again. It looks like he's gone around in the same corner, and it's a nudge again, this time from Carl Thompson, I believe, or Mark Hughes. No, it's from Mark Hughes. So this race is not going Pittas' way at all. The championship is falling away from him as it stands. Ben Oucher on the hunt for race number 7, but Jamie Dory, 7/10 of a second behind, is going to be trying to take advantage of the toe and pull himself back into the fight for the lead and deny Oucher from taking that victory. If he does lose down to second, he'll only lose 4 points, of course. Potter keeping Horn and Stock at bay as we come up towards turn number 1. Potter looks to the inside of McDougall for third position. He goes for the speed on the exit, and that's exactly what he is going to get, but it'll be the long way round out of the Schumacher S, and he has to stay in behind for the time being. Once again, he's going to get the push as we've got Horn and Stock just behind as well. Potter goes all the way to the left-hand side of the circuit. McDougall's not able to squeeze him out that way, but he does have the overlap on the circuit. Potter overdrives, as does Horn and Stock. They all run slightly wide out of turn number 4, as Max Andrews on a recovery after the contact with Adam Wilson-Weir gets past Mark Hughes, and is Isaac Doble at the very back of the order here. Back up, though, towards the fight for third, because Potter once again has got to the inside of Phil McDougall, and he gets that one done mid-corner, and he gets himself ahead as well before the next corner, which is crucial. The way that the infield works here in Interlagos, if you aren't able to pull enough of a gap, the driver you're overtaking is going to have the inside view on the next corner, and it will keep on alternating back, which is where we've seen a number of the overtakes attempt happen, but fall flat. They're not falling flat here, though, as we come in through the final braking zone for Thomas Potter. He's holding on to third position. Jamie Dory has closed the gap up from 7/10 of a second to 4/10 of a second, and as we come across the time in line, we will be looking at 3 more laps to go. Potter on the left of the racing circuit. The right of our screens, it's Phil McDougall alongside as we come up towards lap number 7 here at Interlagos. Dory goes purple at the front. McDougall looks to try and regain the podium the long way round. He tucks in behind, though. He's having a look in his mirrors because he has got Lee Horn there. He wasn't able to get quite to the apex like he would have been hoping for, and Teapot keeps himself ahead in third position. And here now comes Nigel Stock for just a moment on a slightly different line, trying to get past Lee Horn and McDougall for what is now 4th position. We get onto the brakes, though. They remain single file for the time being. 3 minutes left on the board. Adam Wilson-Weir gets past Carl Thompson as Max Andrews tries to do the same, but he's then off the track wide, and that could allow Hughes to come back at him on the left here. Mark Hughes and Max Andrews are going to fight it out to the double right-hander. Andrews on the inside, Hughes on the outside, and it will go the way of Max Andrews. He looks to the inside for just a moment. I thought it might have been an attempt on Carl Thompson. It was not. He was going to remain behind and wait it out for the time being. Ben Oucher has lost it behind Jamie Dory. They have swapped positions, and this is how that occurred. Whilst we were looking a little bit further behind, it was the alternate line from Dory, where he carried just more speed through the Michael Schumacher S. The Senna S, sorry. No, now I'm confused. Ben Oucher is coming back at it, though. Live, he is looking to move back into the lead of this one. He's going to be on the left-hand side of the circuit. Jamie Dory on the right-hand side of the circuit as we get onto the brakes. It is going to be Ben Oucher ahead right now through Center S. And it will be Jamie Dory behind in second position. Behind, it is Teapot keeping his position over McDougall. And Horn trying to maintain over Stock as well. Is Dory going to push, or is he going to go for the overtake into turn number 3? They're leapfrogging at the start of, well, they're on the main straight. Is just allowing them to continue to gain the gap over the drivers behind, which is exactly what he wants to do. Does Ben Oucher. Jamie Dory seems to be helping him out in this one. Phil McDougall is going to go the long way round on Thomas Potter into turn number 6. It is the long way round. It will switch across to the inside, though. Potter is not going to allow that. And McDougall has to stick it behind. Horn opening the door up for just a moment to Stock. Stock doesn't take advantage of that one. Will stay behind. Isaac Doble is now coming back at this one and gets past Carl Thompson. After going down at the early stages of this one. I'm still trying to figure out what actually happened to Isaac Doble back on the opening lap of asking. Did he go out? I can't see anything saying he went out. Oh, look, here we go. Did we miss this? Yes, we did. There was contact that sent Isaac Doble around. Was that with Mark Hughes? It looked like it was with Mark Hughes. Let's watch that one again. It was contact from behind by the looks for Isaac Doble. So he was running pretty cleanly. And then it was just a nudge from behind that just kept on going for Doble and an overcorrection. This was it from Hughes. He had his nose in and then he just pushed the rear bumper. And he just kept his foot on the throttle into the rear end of Doble there. Didn't quite work out the way that Hughes or Doble would have wanted. As we go back live, that's Doble jumping to the inside of Mark Hughes as we went back onto live pictures. So after, oh! Contact with Carl Thompson. Issues there for Mark Hughes on his way back onto the track. But we're going to have to wait on that one because Potter and McDougall are back at it. It's Dory and Oucher at the front in that order. They'll go for the fight up towards turn number 1 again. But it is going to be Potter and McDougall side by side here through the double right-hander. It's side by side for Stock and Horn behind as well. They're not falling out of this fight as Stock moves up into 5th position. Potter can't quite get his nose in. Yes, he can. McDougall runs deep. It'll swap in McDougall's favour here. Potter, if he can keep his nose in, can stay there, but he'll be looking forward to the final straight. Because if he can get the toe, he can make that overtake. He'll dive to the inside of McDougall, though, and he will make it side by side into the final sector. McDougall has the inside line through the long left-hander and up to the braking zone for the final corner. Potter is going to do the switch back. There's going to be no toe involved. It's going to be a drag race there. Stock is going to be behind with the toe. Could he do something? Out at the front, though. Who is going to take victory? Can Jamie Dory win for the first time? He gets pushed by Oucher across the line. Victory number 1 of the season for Jamie Dory. And Potter is pushed by Stock to 3rd position. McDougall gets 4th. And behind, Pittas outscores Wilson Weir and Lee Horn. What an end to that one, but Dory gets the support. It means that Oucher does not maximise the points out of this one, and I think that is strategic in the thinking of, well, I say strategic. He wanted his longtime friend, Jamie Dory, to take victory. And he knew that his championship rival of Pittas was down in 6th position. We'll update you on your championship standings in just a moment. But this is your race result. Jamie Dory took home victory, 0.08 of a second clear of Ben Oucher. And Thomas Potter takes home 3rd. 51 thousandths of a second clear of Phil McDougall. Nigel Stock then in behind. It was then Jack Pittas who came back for 6th position. Took what would basically was the best that he was going to take out of that first race of the day after he went around twice. Adam Wilson-Weir came back home in 7th, just behind his teammate, keeping Lee Horn at bay. Max Andrews came home in 9th on a recovery from his lap 2 contact and spin. Isaac Doble in 10th position. Carl Thompson finishing in 11th ahead of Mark Hughes, which rounds out your field of drivers. Finally then, let's have a look at our top 10 in our championship, because this is now how it stands going into the second race of the evening. It is going to be Ben Outra at the top of the order with 305 points. He is going to be 26 points clear of Pittas. To stay in the championship, Pittas has to score, I would say 2 points more, so he's 24 points behind. But I'm actually more thinking at, well, I'm more looking at, there's the fact that there's only 12 drivers, 4 points minimum. So if Outra were to finish the last race in 12th and gain only 4 points, it means that Pittas would need minimum 6 points more than Outra in the next race. So for Pittas to stay in the championship fight, he must outscore Ben Outra by 6 points in race number 2, and that would only just keep him in on the outer fringes of the championship. We can now officially discount Adam Wilson-Weir from the championship fight. He is now over 50 points behind and therefore no longer involved in the championship fight. Right then, we are going to prepare for the second race of the day, but before we jump across to that one, we are going to have a quick word with a couple of our drivers. We will start with our race winner, Jamie Dorey. It's taken you all the way until the last round of asking, but with a little bit of support there from Ben, you've taken your first win of the season. Can you hear us, Jamie? There we go. Oh, no. We had him for a moment. Now we don't have him. Can we patch in, Jamie? We might have to catch up with him later.
Apologies, Joseph. My headset is dying. If you can give me 2 minutes, I will change my headset.
Of course, we'll pull you back in, Jamie. We'll move along then. We'll come back to Jamie when we get on to race number 2. We will end then talking to the man who got onto the podium in that one. Thomas Potter, you had a proper fight going on throughout the race in that one. It came down to a fight between yourself, Phil, and Nigel, and you managed to come up on top. You got the podium. Talk us through the first race.
There was a bit of like cars everywhere around me. I think the big mistake I made was trying to go from even the last corner without forgetting that I'll be sitting duck down the whole straight and had about a million cars going left and right of me and no slipstream. But it was just an incredible race. Cars everywhere, overtaking everywhere, defending everywhere, and I'm surprised I managed to even hold on to it at the end.
Well, you finished in 3rd, which is where you started. For the next race, though, with the invert, you're going to find yourself down towards the bottom end of the top 10. Do you feel like you can get your way back through? Obviously, you talk about tow. There's a lot of slipstream being used here. Is there opportunities to get back onto a podium?
Well, I don't think it really matters where you start about what you do in a race. I mean, watching my BTCC, Ash Sutton and Tom Ingram both came from back and managed to, well, secure some incredible results. So it doesn't really matter as long as you get a good slipstream and, well, everybody here is really, really competitive. So it's just going to be about avoiding carnage and picking your way through the pack. So definitely a podium is on.
Right, well, we will see what you can do. We wish you the best of luck to see if you can get another podium out of it. As you can say, you can do it from anywhere on the grid. Well done on 3rd place, though.
Yeah, thank you.
Thomas Potter there coming home in third position. We will catch up with Jamie after the break. We will be back for race number 2 in about 5 minutes' time. So make sure that you are sticking around. The championship fight continues. Hello and welcome back here to the second race of the finale as we head around the Interlagos circuit. Before the break, we were able to talk with Thomas Potter about his third place result. Well, after having to swap his headset around, we are going to have another attempt at a go talking to Jamie. Jamie, you managed to take home victory in race number 1 then. It was a bit supported by Ben at the end, but a good victory it's taken you all season to get. I think we're just not going to have any luck here whatsoever. Jamie trying to talk to you. We'll try again in a little bit, Jamie. Good luck for race number 2. We'll see what you are able to do. There's definitely some issues going on Jamie's side there. And trying not to put any foul language on the broadcast this time. I think he was just trying to be a bit more careful on his words of choice. Right then, we are preparing to go out there for the next race of asking. Like I say, we are going to see an inverted field of drivers, which means it is going to place, crucially, Pittas ahead of Oucher on the grid for the final races. For the second race of the day. We'll then see another invert going into the third and final race, where the championship could be decided. Now, as I say, I believe that Pittas is needing to outscore Adam Wilson-Weir by 6 points in this one. 2 points to still be mathematically within the championship, but because there were only 12 competitors this evening, Oucher, even if he finishes last in the final race of the day, he is going to get 4 points to his name, which is why I believe that it needs to be 6 points that Pittas needs to outscore Oucher by in the championship to try and keep his title hopes alive. And if you are just joining us here after the first race of the evening, this is our updated championship standings. Ben Oucher is at the top of the order with 305 points. Jack Pittas with 279. Adam Wilson-Weir sits in third right now and has 240 points to his name. He is now officially out of the championship contention. Behind that, though, we didn't have a look at it before the break. There is still the fight going on for 4th place in the championship. Dory, with his first win of the season, re-overtakes Isaac Doble. They swap around in the championship. And Dory takes 4th position away from Doble. Lee Horn falling a little bit further down the order in the race 1 results, sitting 10 points clear of McDougall, however, losing out on the championship fight ahead of him for 4th position. It looks like it'll be a Dory-Doble debate going on for 4th. It'll be a Horn-McDougall debate for 6th. As we continue to watch the Oucher and Pittas contention at the top of the championship order going into this one. 26 points separate them. Remember that there are 25 points for a race victory, which means that if this was the last race of the day, Oucher would be your champion. However, we still have one more race between that and the final time of asking. We will have to wait and see to see if Pittas is able to keep the title fights alive going into the last race of the day, or whether Ben Oucher, who has taken 6 wins this season, can find his way to the championship. I mean, he could have definitely taken a 7th. It definitely looked like he eased off a little bit there on Dory, helped Dory take victory. How is that going to impact this second race of the day? Are we going to see more issues for championship contenders? And in Pittas's eyes, he's going to be hoping that something is going to happen to Ben Oucher in this second race of the day. The warm-up session coming to a close here. It is hot out there. It is hot for our drivers. It is hot for us in the commentary booth. I'm sure watching along, you are feeling rather hot as well. So make sure that you are keeping yourself well hydrated in this very entertaining evening of racing. It is much cooler out there on circuit here at Interlagos than it is out in the racing rooms that everyone's in, whether it's their home office, their dedicated sim room, their front room, or their kitchen, wherever they might be. it is feeling rather warm right now. And when you're in a room like me that is surrounded by black walls, it is incredibly hot. With 2 PCs running, 7 monitors up, it's a bit much. Fans going away in the background, keeping me cool. And luckily for me, when I need to take a break, I can quickly take a bit of a sip, take a pause on the commentary, so that I am ready to go back at it again. For our drivers, however, it is constant racing action. They're not able to just sit there and just wait and cool down. They have to be on it all of the time. A number of drivers stepping back from this evening's event due to the heat and it just being too much to try and compete for 2.5 hours of racing action. And there's no surprise in that really as well, because it's exactly what I would have done in this situation. It is very hot out there right now. That being said, with 1 minute left in our warm-up session, our drivers will be preparing to go back out racing again for another approximately 15 minutes of racing. I do believe we're going for a lapped race in the next one, which would be 9 minutes. Lee Horn has found his way next to the recovery vehicles and the ambulance. I don't know if that's alluding to anything that might happen, or certainly hope not. But he's gone off at turn number 4 and ducked behind that tyre barrier. Right then, we are preparing to go racing for our second race of the day. It is going to be a full invert due to the smaller grid than usual here this evening. And when we go back out for race number 3, we're going to see another full invert. What that does mean is race 1 winner, Jamie Dory, is going to find himself all the way at the back of the order for this one. I believe that it will be Mark Hughes who will be starting on pole position ahead of Carl Thompson. Pittas will be starting 4 points clear of Ben Oucher, but I think it's going to be in 7th position. Oucher will be starting in 11th. It's still, it's enough points, I believe, to help him keep the championship fight, but he'll be obviously wanting to try and find his way to the front, and he'll be hoping Oucher does not. If Pittas was to win, to realistically stay within the championship fight as best as I can tell here, it will then be, what am I trying to say? I think it will then be 25, so realistically, if Pittas was to win, Oucher cannot finish higher than 3rd. That being said then, let's have a look at how this race is going to begin. It is going to be Mark Hughes on pole position ahead of Carl Thompson. It is then going to be Isaac Doble in 4th ahead of Max Andrews. Lee Horn will then be starting in 6th place. 7th for Adam Wilson-Weir ahead of Jack Pittas. Nigel Stott will be starting 9th with Phil McDougall in 10th position. Thomas Potter in 11th. And Ben Oucher will be starting in 12th position. Well, 11th realistically, if you discount the pole man. Jamie Dory will be starting from the back of the order. We will discount Benji McCluskey, who is our race control for the evening, of course, from our qualifying order there. So Mark Hughes, although he is 2nd on the grid, he is the man that will be starting pole position on this one. That right-hand spot will be left empty for this second race of the day. Back of the order there is Jamie Dory. Championship standings. This is what it will look like at the end of this one as it stands. 22 points on offer. That will not be enough for Pittas to remain in the championship fight, with 4 points definitely going the way of Oucher in the final race of the day. The lights are on the board. We prepare to go racing here for 10 laps of racing action. 1 additional lap over the first race of the day, and we head up towards turn number 1. Hughes goes defensive. Isaac Doble looking to try and take victory number 3 of the season. He goes the long way round in towards turn number 1. It is side by side behind, and they sort themselves out in a line. Lee Horn runs himself on a slightly alternate racing line there, allowing Potter to go through. Wilson-Weir is climbing up the order straight away. For Pittas, though, he has not. He remains in 8th position. In fact, he falls down to 8th position after starting 7th in class. He looks to try and go to the inside. He has to just wait until Horn backs out. Now he gets to the inside of Potter, and through goes Jack Pittas into 6th position. Ben Oucher behind, though, has moved his way into 9th. He does have Nigel Stock to his inside on the double right-hander. Stock does keep his nose in, but then has to back out of it. Ben Oucher up to 9th position. Jack Pittas up into 6th place right now. It is Isaac Doble leading the way on the opening lap of asking, with Mark Hughes chasing in behind. Max Andrews, though, looks to the inside of Hughes. He wants to get into 2nd position in the number 2 machine, and he certainly does. He jumps up the inside of Hughes, and he makes the overtake. Hughes not happy with that one. Lights flashing, but Andrews taking full advantage of the open door. Adam Wilson-Weir knocks into Hughes. Hughes drives into Andrews and is off the circuit. Mark Hughes is off the track, off and falling down the order. He comes back on, and it is a big shunt with Nigel Stock. Broken right front suspension for Stock. He will get that car facing the right way. Broken left front suspension for Mark Hughes. They'll both have to come down pit lane as we come across the timing line. Andrews and Wilson-Weir fighting out for 2nd position now. Here comes Carl Thompson to the inside of Andrews. There's a little bit of a nudge. That's Pittas overtaking Potter behind. He's trying to get the position done. Potter, though, is going to keep that fight with him. Oucher trying to catch on behind to keep himself close on to this fight. And he doesn't need to outscore Pittas in this race to win the championship. Potter goes defensive. A little bit of a wobbling there from Thompson ahead. But as they come through turn number 3, it will remain in order with Thompson, Potter, Pittas, Horn, and then Oucher. Oucher now needs to try and see if he can find his way up the order once again. Pittas looking to find his way past Potter. This was a familiar fight in the early stages of race number 1. Pittas looks to the inside, trying to scare Potter into going wide. Potter does leave the door open, but in the next long left-hander, it doesn't work out for Ben Oucher. He does get his nose up the inside of Lee Horn, and will keep himself inside that fight. Horn goes late on the brakes, though, to regain the position. Pittas and Potter are still together. Pittas drops behind, though, and he does have Oucher all over the rear end. Is Oucher going to try and make the move into the final turn? Yes! Ben Oucher, he doesn't need to outscore Pittas to win the championship, but he's going for the move. That was Thompson off the road, just up ahead. He keeps it to the side. Keeping it together a little bit better than Hughes did on the previous lap of asking. And it means now that Pittas is up to 5th, but in tandem, so is Ben Oucher up to 6th position here as we come up towards turn number 1. Wilson-Weir could be under attack from Andrews, as behind as well. We go for Oucher on Pittas once more. They're side by side. Through turn number 1, through turn number 2. Oucher drops in behind Pittas. He wants to take this championship with one more race to go. He does not want it to come down to the wire. He looks to the inside, up towards turn number 4 here. It's side by side between Dory and Horn behind. Oucher just gets his nose to the inside here as they go side by side, the championship contenders battling for 5th position as we come out of turn number 5 and up towards the double right-hander. As we go up the hill, it will be Pittas' inside. Oucher drops in behind. He does have Dory behind. He helped Dory to the race win in the last race. Is Dory going to help him out this time? He might not need it because Oucher goes back up the inside of Pittas. Pittas can keep it, though, on the long left-hander. But as this circuit goes, it's going to switch back once more. Oucher now will have the inside on the braking zone. You can tell Pittas braking earlier, trying to do the switch across on the exit to carry the speed here. Just because he's fallen behind now does not mean that this championship fight is over, and doesn't mean that this position is going to be confirmed. Jack Pittas is going to push it out of the final turn. We ride on board with the number 28 machine. He's behind in the championship. He's behind on the circuit right now, and he needs to make his way up the order. Potter said it doesn't matter where you start for, anyone can get a podium. He's 2 seconds away from that right now, running in 4th place after getting 3rd in race number 1. There is going to be an overtaking attempt, though, for the lead of this race. It is going to be Isaac Doble to the inside of Max Andrews to hold on to first position. That's exactly what happens as McDougall dives to the inside of Horn to try and get up into 8th position. It is going to go the way of Horn, but he has to leave the door open for McDougall on the exit there as we head down towards turn number 4. Here goes once again at the front, and it is going to be Max Andrews that has got past Doble to the inside of turn 4. That position has changed, and here comes Pittas to get back past Oucher. They swap over. There's a nudge as Oucher drops in behind Pittas. Pittas wobbles his wheel just a little bit, showing how unhappy he was that Oucher moved across as early as he did, because it could have led to further contact there. Fortunately, they all face it the right way. Oucher behind Pittas once more. Jamie Dory still chasing in behind, and they are chasing on with Thomas Potter. They aren't closing up towards the lead fight right now. It is Andrews, Doble and Wilson Weir. The last time Wilson Weir took a victory was round number 1, race number 1. The last time Doble took a race victory was round number 3 at Mugello. It was race number 3. He took the double there. It's the only time he's won is at Mugello. He'll be trying to do that here today. Max Andrews won back at Zolder, race number 3. He's looking to try and do it here at race number 2. Doble looks to the inside to get his nose to the inside as we head up towards the timing line. They'll give each other enough room as we go up towards turn number 1. Is Adam Wilson Weir going to put his nose into this as well? It is going to be the wide entrance from Max Andrews to hold the speed on the outside. He wobbles ever so slightly, and that small momentary slip of grip is going to give Wilson Weir second position. And Pittas, crucially, has got past Potter. Has now put a car between himself and championship contender. Here comes Adam Wilson Weir to the inside of Isaac Doble to look for the lead. They're side by side out of turn 5 and up to the double right-hander as we climb the hill. Doble will have the overlap, and Andrews will get his nose in as well as we get onto the braking zone. Wilson Weir is trying to carry the speed all the way around the exit. It is going to be dropping down a second. Andrews still with a nose in here. Will stay to the inside as we come up towards the end of the lap. As that is going to be Andrews up to second position. Wilson Weir behind. Ben Oucher and Jamie Dory have knocked Potter down. He was up in 4th. He's back down to 7th. Pittas is gapping between himself and Oucher right now. But in terms of the live championship as it stands, Ben Oucher is going to be your champion. 29 points separate them. 25 points will be on the board when we go into the final race of the day. Right then, Adam Wilson Weir is looking to get past Andrews here up towards turn number 1. Andrews for a moment looked like he was going to go up the inside of Doble. Doble saw it coming, just made that small move to say, no you don't, thank you very much. But if these three continue to fight, Pittas could come along and try to take advantage. And with it right now, he's only taking 14 points. If he was to move into the lead this one, he'll take an additional 11. It would keep him inside the championship fights. He's got to be hoping that he can get past these leading 3 when Ben Oucher will stay behind. And he does need Oucher staying behind, of course. Oucher is the fastest man out on track right now, but he is a second off of Pittas. He's almost 2 seconds off of this fight as we are over halfway through this race now. Doble gets to the inside of Max Andrews through turn number 7. It'll swap over though, and Andrews is going to keep it to the inside through the next turn. Here comes Adam Wilson Weir. The 3 drivers fighting it hard for the race lead. Doble keeps his nose ahead. Wilson Weir on the tighter line. Couldn't quite put his nose in there. Andrews touches Doble. That's how Doble lost out in race 1. It's not how he's going to lose out this time though. He keeps his car straight. Now you could be questioning, is Wilson Weir taking the fight so much to these leaders to allow Pittas, his teammate, to try and catch up. Wilson Weir discounted from the championship after the first race of the day. He was mathematically out of it. However, his teammate is very much in it here. Could we see a little bit of teamwork playing from there in the Type 2 machines? Only one full tilt in Ben Oucher out there this evening. A little bit of door banging from Andrews and Doble as we come up towards turn number 1. Andrews is going to try and keep it the long way round. It'll swap to his inside, and it will be position gained for Max Andrews, and Doble falls down to second position. Wilson Weir on a slightly wider line here. Is he going to fight with Pittas? Is he going to allow his teammate to come through as we head up towards turn number 3? He sits to the left, but it doesn't look like he's allowing Pittas to. Certainly not. He is going to be taking this fight all the way to the end of this one as well, as that's going to be Wilson Weir putting his nose up the inside of Doble. Pittas follows in behind Doble here, and then Doble's going to try and put his nose to the inside of Andrews. Isaac Doble moving back through for the lead. Pittas up the inside of Wilson Weir as we get up towards the breaking point here. It is going to be 2 by 2 into turn number 7. Ben Oucher back into this one, and Oucher's now going to try and make the move on the inside of Pittas. The two of them, championship contenders, back together on track once more. It's a whole gathering of cars. Pittas to the inside of Wilson Weir, and Oucher goes to the left-hand side. It's 3 wide, it's a nudge. Pittas slides, but he keeps it together. Oucher up the position. Wilson Weir goes to the inside, another nudge with his teammate. But Pittas does make his way through for 4th, but it is Ben Oucher onto the podium positions now. Jamie Dory behind Adam Wilson Weir as we come up to the 8th lap of asking. It'll be 3 to go at the line, and I don't know who is going to win this one, because I'd say even Lee Horn running there in 9th position still has an opportunity. We look for a move up towards turn number 1 for both 1st and 3rd. Oucher gets overtaken by Pittas. Pittas goes very hard onto the brakes to get himself slowed down. He's up into 3rd position right now, but it'll be only 4 points over Oucher. He needs 6 points to still be in the championship going into the final race of the day. And that's if Oucher was to finish last, which would be 12th, which offers 4 points. Andrews gets to the inside of Doble. Max Andrews leads the way yet again here. He is looking for win number 2 this season, whereas Isaac Doble is looking for win number 3. He's not won since the 3rd round of asking, the long way round of turn 5. And he's going to have to wait behind for now. And he certainly does that, as that once again is Pittas and Oucher coming very close together in their fight for 3rd. Oucher sticks his nose up just a little bit towards the inside. I would say if you didn't have the contact for Pittas in race number 1, you would say that it would still very much be within a very close championship fight right now. However, as it stands, Oucher is going to be your champion. We come into the final turns of the circuit. You can see how much they're overdriving these cars. They're hitting the curbing. It was a bit of correction on Pittas's wheel. You saw the front wheels just turn into opposite lock for just a moment as Ben Oucher chasing in behind. He's got all the tow that he could possibly want. He is going to push Pittas. He's going to push him up towards the race lead here. But remember, the fight is on track, but also Oucher doesn't need to beat Pittas to win the championship in this race. Doble is going to try and move through for the lead in towards turn number 1. He backs in behind. Pittas then gets on his brakes. It actually upsets Oucher ever so slightly. That could invite Adam Wilson Weir in. Wilson Weir, Pittas's teammate, is certainly not going to make this easy for Oucher. Jamie Dory, however, is now going to get into this one as well as Andrews goes defensive. He moves back towards the racing line. Doble is going to place his nose to the inside. He has to wait behind. Dory gets past Wilson Weir for 5th position, and Wilson Weir falls back behind. Could be under attack here from teapots as we come up towards the double right-hander. As a switch across there from Pittas. He wants the positions. He gets his nose to the inside of Doble. There's just enough room to get the 28 machine to the inside of the 65. It's going to fight its way through. He's going to be knocked wide ever so slightly. And here comes Ben Oucher back under attack. It will go the way of Pittas, but we approach the white flag lap here. It is going to be the inside line for Pittas. Oucher, though, going to try and keep his nose in, and he does. There's just enough space for the 504 machine to stay alongside Pittas into the final braking zone. The two championship contenders battle it out up towards the white flag lap. Pittas is going to be hoping that something happens to Oucher, but we know that he is not, and none of our drivers are the type to purposely get this one involved and have just a little bit of an additional nudge than we need to. Dory pushing Oucher through. Remember, Oucher pushed Dory to a race 1 victory. There's no surprise there that Dory's pushing Oucher along the start-finish straight. Dory now attacking Pittas as well as we go through turn number 1. He is running side by side with Pittas. He's really putting this fight up to him. Oucher remains ahead. He is going to be champion in less than a lap's time as it stands. We come up towards the final few sectors of the final lap. It's going to be the inside for Adam Wilson-Weir. It's going to then be contact with Pittas, and Potter's going to go up the inside as well. Pittas falls down to 7th. Wilson-Weir gets to the inside of Dory. And it's to the detriment of his championship contending teammate that he waits for the move. And we've seen all evening long that the teammates, yes, they're running under the same liveries. There's no team championships, of course, though. There's no necessary team affiliations in that sort of way either. Wilson-Weir has taken the fight all the way through this evening, even when it comes to his teammate in Pittas. We head up then towards the final sector of race number 2 as we come through. It is side by side once more. Wilson-Weir finally confirms his move over Potter. Potter will be looking to try and get the toe at the very end of this one. But after taking his one and only victory of the season in race number 3 in Zolder, Max Andrews from 4th on the grid here in race number 2 is going to power it round the final turn. Max Andrews is going to be race winner in race number 2, but it's going to be the championship for Ben Outre. He wins the championship with a 3rd position result. Pittas coming home in just 8th position. Ben Outre will win your championship here at Interlagos with 1 race to spare. He is your champion of the Toyota GR86 Cups. And as he comes down into the pits and will do his in-lap, we will pull him straight into the broadcasting booth, because Ben, not only did you get a podium in that one, it is championship for you.
Yeah, Jack had a bit of a poor race in race 1, and he congratulated me at the end of that because he was pretty certain I had it at that point. Yeah, it's been a good championship. It's been enjoyable. I've had a lot of fun racing with these guys, always do.
With the championship over and done with then, with 1 race left to spare, you'll find yourself starting near the back once more. Not that you took it easy in that race, but now that you don't have a championship to think about, how are you going to be approaching the last race of the day?
Just the same, to be honest. I now have nothing to lose, so why would I take it easy? I'm just going to enjoy myself like I have done every other race and race with everyone. That's what we're here for.
Lovely to hear, Ben. Congratulations on a championship here. Well done.
Thank you very much, man.
Ben Oucher, champion at the end of the 2nd race of the evening here in the finale. We will have a look at your race results and the top 10 in your championship at the end of this second race. We've still got one more to go, though, so don't go anywhere. Max Andrews takes home race win number 2 of the season, beating Isaac Doble in their race-long duel. It's Ben Oucher coming home in 3rd position to take the championship with that. Jamie Doy came home in 4th, had Adam Wilson-Weir, Phil McDougall in 6th, Thomas Potter in 7th, and an evening to forget for Jack Pittas in 8th place. Lee Horn came home in 9th. It was 10th for Carl Thompson. And at the back of your order, Nigel Stock in 11th and Mark Hughes a lap down. And with that all being said then, the championship at the front has been decided. It is championship for Ben Oucher. 323 points to his name. He sits what is going to be 34 points, 36 points clear. Enough points clear that he is going to be champion over Jack Pittas. Adam Wilson-Weir is going to confirm 3rd, but it is now the fight for 4th position that we are going to be keeping our eye out into the final round of the day. Isaac Doble and Jamie Doy are going to be fighting out to see who is going to end on top in that one. We've already spoken to Ben Oucher here, and it is very, very warm around the Interlagos circuit virtually, as well as in the broadcasting booth here. So what we are going to do is take just a few moments here around the events that we can go out and prepare for the final race of the day. We will be back in about 7 minutes' time for what is going to be the 3rd and final race of the day and the last race of the season. So make sure you don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 7 minutes. We are just going to have a little bit of a longer break here as we wait for the final session to go live, but we will be back in 5 minutes' time. Make sure that you are refreshing yourself. You have got yourself a new drink. It is hot out here this evening, so make sure that you are getting yourself refreshed, ready for the finale, the final race of the season. 5 minutes. welcome back for the final time this season as we head out onto the Interlagos circuit for race number 3 here at round number 7. What a season it has been, and with just one race in hand, it is championship going the way of Ben Oucher. And with the title fight now decided, our focus switches across to the fight for 4th position. Isaac Doble and Jamie Dory have been trading positions throughout this evening, and going into the final race of the day, it is once again Doble on top. He is 3 points clear of Jamie Dory in the championship. So we are going to have to keep an eye out to how Doble and Dory get on out there this evening's final race. A season that started all the way back at Okayama. It has gone through a variety of countries and a variety of racing circuits. It has been a season of brilliant racing throughout, side by side, door to door action that has come down to the final round of asking before that championship has been decided. Now we go into the final round with the championship fight decided as it has been. Ben Oucher said that he's now got nothing to lose. He'll continue to push just as much as he has been all season long. Are we going to see an evening of triple podiums coming the way of Ben Oucher? He has not won a race since round number 5, race number 1. But over the course of the season, he has taken 6 victories. If he takes a victory here in the final race of the day, he will have gone for a 33% win rate over the course of the season. The most anyone else has ever won is 3 from Nick Clibbins. We prepare to go racing for the final time this season as we head down to the track. But in Next Gen Racing, it is certainly not the end, as we have got the GT3s heading out onto the circuit once again this week as we head out for the 9th round of action at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Make sure you don't miss that one on Thursday with Alex Everett if you're watching on the Next Gen Racing official broadcasting channels on Facebook and YouTube. You will catch it live on there with Alex. And of course, we will be then going out racing again in a week's time when we head out for the final round of the NXTGEN for season number 10. Join Paul Walsh in the commentary booth for that one next Tuesday when they head to the final round of asking. And if anything like this one, it'll be a great way to end the season's worth of competition. Next Gen Racing, though, even though everything is coming towards a close for this season of competition in the GT3s, the NXTGENs, and here in the Toyotas, don't think that there is anything on the horizon. We have got lots lined up for you, including some new things on the horizon as well. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that one, and make sure you haven't you have joined the Discord. Not that you haven't joined the Discord, that wouldn't be helpful at all. Make sure you have joined the Discord. You can get yourself involved in these events as well when you think about what we've got. We've got live stewarding, we've got live safety car, we've got live broadcasting, and some fantastic racing to boot. What you are missing out on is massive if you don't get down there on the track. So we hope to see you in the next series of competition when they all go out. Of course, we'll be looking forward to the next season of NXTGENs with Paul. We'll be looking forward to the next seasons of the GT3s. And as I have a little birdie talking in my ear when we aren't live here in the evenings, I know of some fantastic events that are going to be coming your way alongside as well, and there'll be a number of new things heading on to the NXTGEN pages sorry, the Next Gen pages alongside the NXTCC is what I meant to say. So make sure that you are keeping an eye out for all of those when they get announced. And I'm very happy to be returning into the commentary booth for a couple of projects moving forward as well, which I know that some of you guys will be very happy to hear that is the case as well. I don't like to big myself up here too much in the commentary box, but I do know that I am asked to do a fair bit. So I'm glad to be returning in the next set of events that we are looking forward to be announcing in the near future for those ones. Right then, enough rambling and talking nonsense from me, because we are preparing to go out for the final time this season. It has been a fantastic season of competition, as I say, in these Toyota GR86s. The races have been fantastic, and ever since they were updated on the iRacing service, they have become very much on par with the racing that we used to see in the Mazdas. And of course, that was the first league that I came down and broadcasted at Next Gen before Christmas. So I'm glad to see racing just as close as that one. But we are going to prepare then for the final race of the day. And with that being said, we are going to get a full invert from our race 1 results yet again. So when our drivers start to line up on the grid, we can talk you through the starting order for the 3rd race of the day and the final race of this season of competition. Welcome in to those of you joining for the first time tonight. I hope that you are doing well, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next set of events. But here we go. The grid order then for the final time. 13 laps of racing are going to be on the board for this one, and it is Mark Hughes who's going to be starting it from the very front of the field. Nigel Stock will be starting in 2nd position. Lee Horn from 3rd, ahead of Jack Pittas. Thomas Potter will be in 5th place, ahead of Phil McDougall in 6th. 7th on the grid will be Adam Wilson-Weir. Jamie Dory from 8th, ahead of Ben Oucher. Isaac Dober will be starting from 10th. And your race 2 winner, it's Max Andrews from the back of the order. With that being said then, let's have a look at our field of drivers. They are on the line. They are ready to go out racing for 13 laps to finish this season off of what has been a brilliant season of competition. It's all going to come down to this one in that fight for 4th in the championship. If they were to finish the way that they would start, Isaac Doble would outscore Jamie Dory by a singular point in this one. In that fight for 4th position, the championship fight has now been decided. This is the fight that we shift our focus to. But of course, we will also make sure that we are focusing on all of the on-track action throughout this evening's event. And as we prepare to go out racing, it is nice and toasty out there indeed. We're sitting at 23 degrees Celsius on track temperature. Cooler on track, in fact, than it is here in the UK today. So there you go. It is cooled down throughout the course of the day, though, sitting at 5 o'clock in the evening in the virtual Interlagos circuit in Sao Paulo. Our drivers are ready then. We are ready, and the 13 laps on the board are ready. We prepare to go racing for the final time here at Interlagos. We are green for the finale, and we head up towards turn number 1. Mark Hughes leads our way up towards the first turn. Nigel Stock will have the inside of Lee Horn. Horn has jumped to the outside to try and gain up into 2nd straight away. He's going to go the long way round. It will switch in his favour. Here comes Teapot to go alongside with Stock. There's a little bit of wheel banging there. It shoves Potter wide. Potter's then caught by Pittas. A big wobble on the rear end. It is 3 wide. Up towards turn number 4. Pittas deciding where he wants to go. Potter's going to go a little bit later on the brakes. All the way around the outside. He gets past Stock. Can he get it? Past Wilson-Weir as well. He closes the door on Adam Wilson-Weir. And he holds on to 3rd position up from 5th on the grid. Stock down to 5th right now, and Pittas down a couple of places himself. He's trying to get back past and up the order here, looking to try and get past Nigel Stock through the double right-hander and onto the brakes here. That's Isaac Doble to the inside of Oucher behind. Doble looking to try and take win number 3 this season. Oucher on the hunt for win 7, of course. Mark Hughes at the front, holding off from Lee Horn. Horn has taken 2 wins this season. Can he take a 3rd by the end of this run? He is in 2nd position on the opening lap of Asking. Started in 3rd. Phil McDougall has fallen to the rear end of the field. Nigel Stock to the inside of Ben Oucher as Oucher continues to try and climb up on the start of this one. Stock continues to fall. Could be under attack now from Max Andrews as we head out of the final turn. Jamie Dory has not moved anywhere in this race either. He's in fact fallen down, and that is not going to help him out in the fight with Isaac Doble. We come up towards the timing line. Dory is going to push Andrews, and Stock, who started all the way up in 2nd position, is going to fall to the back of the order, but it looks like by the end of turn number 1. In fact, that's exactly what has happened as we've gone in towards the 2nd lap of Asking. That was Lee Horn overdriving ever so slightly through the centre S, and he falls down to 4th position. Could be under attack from Jack Pittas now as we head up towards turn number 3. Turn number 4, I should say. It is going to be 3 wide for the lead of the race, and Mark Hughes is into the wall and out of the race. Mark Hughes falls down the order. An absolute disastrous way for his season to come to a close. Adam Wilson-Weir, though, to the inside of Lee Horn, and he holds on for 2nd position. Teapot leads the way at the front, looking for his 1st win of the season after stepping in at Willow Springs. It's going to be a nudge there from Doble as Pittas wants to keep his car to the inside. Doble goes a little bit deeper onto the brakes. Jack Pittas does carry a bit of speed into the corner, but that tighter line just means you do drop off towards the end of Asking. We now head in to the final turns of lap number 2. Let's go and have a look once again at what happened to Hughes. It was contact with Wilson-Weir, then a nudge with Teapot on the outside, and it sent him into the wall, unsurprisingly. Battle for the lead now. Adam Wilson-Weir to the right-hand side of Potter is side by side. Potter turns Wilson-Weir. Wilson-Weir's into the wall, and Potter's down pit lane. It places Lee Horn into the lead with Doble up the inside. Isaac Doble moves into the lead, but Horn tries to hold it as we come out of the first few corners. Adam Wilson-Weir now out of the race as well. Potter has made his pit stop a drive-through almost, and he's back out on track. It's 4 wide almost. We settle down to 3 wide once again into turn 2. Lee Horn backs out of it. Isaac Doble moves through for the lead as we come out of turn number 4. Here comes Ben Oucher to try and move back up the order. Horn touches the glass as he wants to go to the inside of Max Andrews. He has to drop in behind. It is side by side between Horn and Oucher as we come up the hill onto the brakes now for turn number 7. Horn does have the inside line, but it is going to switch to the outside. If he can keep his nose in, which he more than is capable of doing so, he can get to the inside of Oucher for just a moment. Andrews looked like he was going to go to the inside of Pittas. It didn't quite work out for him there, but it is going to work out for him on the next corner. The door is open. Isaac Doble, though, leading the way, but it is going to be Pittas falling behind, Andrews behind as we come in towards the final braking zone. Andrews moves into 2nd. After winning race number 2, could Andrews go back-to-back race victories here, which in the same evening of racing has not happened once this season. Nobody has won a race and gone on to win the race immediately after in the same evening. We come up towards turn number 1, and Pittas is looking to stop that from happening. He jumps up the inside of Max Andrews. It is side by side between the two drivers. Pittas has to drop behind. Max Andrews keeps himself in second position. Lee Horn and Ben Oucher are now side by side behind as they come up towards turn number 4, fighting it out for 4th position. Oucher has the left-hand side. Horn on the outside line here. He's going to carry it around the outside. Oucher is going to carry more speed. Phil McDougall looks for just a moment to try and get his nose up the inside. It will not happen as we come out of turn number 5 and up the hill now. 3 laps have been completed. We've said goodbye to Mark Hughes and Adam Wilson-Weir. Thomas Potter has come down pit lane after that initial accident. We saw him slide off into the pit lane. This is another view of it. It's a nudge from Potter. He moved too far to the right. Wilson-Weir then lost the rear end, and I think you can place that blame entirely there on Potter, and it's not something that I normally do live on broadcast, but you could just see the movement there, and Potter, he had Wilson-Weir there, and he moves too far to the right, and avoids the pit wall by coming down pit lane, but not what he would have wanted. There is no doubt about that one. However, he will have to learn again from that one, and if we see him out there in another event of racing, hopefully he can go for another win, because it was a potential win on the boards. Ended up falling down the order. He's down to 9. Don't discount him. Of course, the safety car could change anything in this race. Isaac Doble trying to keep Max Andrew at bay then. Doble missing out on victory in race number 2 to Andrews. Andrews is looking to try and take back-to-back wins for the first time this season in the same evening. Pittas looking just to try and prove that he still has a bit of speed in his car after missing out on the championship. He's looking to try and take victory in the final race of the day. It looked for a moment like he was about to make it 3 wide, but Andrews is going to try and hold it the long way round on Isaac Doble. Doble carries the speed. Andrews is forced off the circuit, but he keeps his line alongside, and that is Pittas for a moment, placing his car in the middle of them, and he would have got a call for just a moment saying that they were 3 wide. They settled down to 2 wide though, with Andrews ahead. Pittas to the inside of Doble, Oucher to the inside of Horn. Oucher's looking to try and follow Jack Pittas through here, but it is going to be ahead for Doble, and Oucher now under attack from Lee Horn as we come in towards turn number, I think it's 11 at this point. A long way round for Horn. Oucher gets the slow exit though. Being on that tighter line, it is a move through for Lee Horn back into 4th position. He started 3rd, of course. Some big movers and shakers out there throughout the course of this race, with Max Andrews winning race number 2. He's come from the back of the field and he's back out on front. He went on to win race number 3 back at Zolder. Well, he won race number 2 with the invert. He did it from 4th on the grid. He's looking at doing it from 11th on the grid in this one. Isaac Doble's climbed a lot of spaces as well, but not as many. Pittas now under attack from Horn, and Horn is going to get the inside line. It will swap back to Pittas' inside line. A bit of grass being kicked up there from in front, but Horn does keep his nose alongside, and he places his whole car ahead of the 28 machine as we head up towards turn number 4. Is Pittas going to look for the move? Yes, he's going to go to the inside, try to keep that door open on Horn, and they are going to go side by side. Bit of a wobble there from McDougall behind, and here comes Oucher. He is going to push Pittas out of turn number 5 and up towards the double right-hander. It is going to be the inside line for Lee Horn. All of the drivers inside your top 6 are race winners this season. Onto the brakes there. A little bit later was Ben Oucher, and he confirms his spot past Pittas up into 4th position. The fight at the front, though, can continue on. Max Andrews ahead of Isaac Doble as they come through the end of the lap. We're approaching the halfway stage of this one. Halfway through next lap, we will be halfway through the final race of the season. We get onto the final braking zone. Max Andrews stays ahead. The chasing pack for third position is being led by Lee Horn, but for how much longer? Because Ben Oucher places his car to the inside line out of the final turn and up towards the timing line, and it is going to be third for Ben Oucher for the time being. Is Pittas going to try and follow him through? They all get in single file for a moment. Pittas then pulls it to the left-hand side. Jack Pittas will have the inside into turn number 1 on Lee Horn. He also places his car to the inside of Oucher, trying to upset Oucher in his line through 2. It's not going to work out too much, though, and it is going to stay with Oucher ahead. Pittas all over the rear end. 5 cars in a line here. This is your fight for third position. It is going to look for a move up in front as well, but it settles down for Doble as he sits in behind Max Andrews for the time being. It is going to be Horn to the inside of Pittas, trying to regain 4th position. Dory and McDougall behind, looking also to make their way up the order. Dory gets past Horn through the double right-hander. He'll hold it along the inside line here and onto the brakes. It's a little bit of a later break there from McDougall. Closes right onto the bumper of Dory, but it is going to be Horn once again alongside. They stay side by side, as we've had someone side by side almost consistently since the start of this race. It is going to be Dory now confirming that position, but McDougall invites himself in to that open gap. It will fall down side by side in that, single file in that fight now as we head on to the main straight. Max Andrews half a second clear of Isaac Doble. It is then Ben Oucher leading Jack Pittas, and with Doble being towards the front of the order, he is going to take the championship on 4th position over Jamie Dory's 5th in the championship. That gap only being a few points going into this one, but as it stands, it is very much going the way of Doble. We head up towards the braking point here. McDougall's all over the rear end of Horn, but they're just pushing each other for now. They've decided to back out a little bit from this one. They don't want to take it too hard, as that is Nigel Stock down pit lane. I'm trying to figure out if there was potential issues for Stock. I don't think there was, but he's down pit lane now. We ride on board with Jack Pittas. He is all over the rear end of Ben Oucher, looking to try and get into 3rd position once more. He's got the speed on the exit of 5 here, but he is going to give the bump. Maybe trying to close up towards Doble and Andrews, but I think unless they start fighting, that's not really going to happen. But Pittas, very easy to the inside of Oucher there, as Oucher runs very wide off the circuit. It invites Lee Horn to the inside to make his way up to 4th. It'll swap around once more. Ben Oucher now will have the inside line, but as we swing again, once again to the right-hand side, it'll go Horn's direction. It could invite McDougall in, who once again tries to place his car into the open gap. That finds itself just big enough for a Toyota to squeeze into. The problem is, when you're tucking into a tighter gap like that, where it is the inside line, you are the slower car. You have to get onto your brakes more, you've got to rotate your wheel more, you're therefore at a much tighter turning angle, and that does slow you down. That's why we've seen on these swooping corners as well, on the outside line, sometimes it's better to be there because you can carry more speed through the corner. Nigel Stock, who came down pit lane, is going to fall a lap off of your leaders here, as that was going to be Lee Horn to the inside of Pittas up towards turn number 1. But once again, they settle themselves down single file. Horn now has Oucher all over the rear end. 5 laps to go, including this one, until the end of this season of competition. The first season in the Toyota GR86s. Max Andrews leads Isaac Doble as we come in towards turn number 4. Doble looking for his third win of the season, but then again, so is Max Andrews. Andrews is looking to be the only driver this season to have achieved back-to-back race wins at the same circuit. We've seen a number of drivers win race 1 and race 3. We even saw Ben Altura win race 3 at Hockenheim and race 1 at Zolder the following round. We are yet to see a driver win both back-to-back races in the same evening. Can he do it? Race 2 and race number 3. He's had to work his way up from 11th on the grid. Isaac Doble has had to work his way up from 10th on the grid because, oh yes, this is just a repeat of race 2 between these two. It was Andrews and Doble across the line. It's looking to be that way once again at the front of this one. Back in the fight though for second position, and it is Jack Pittas who is leading this train of drivers, which is being chased by Lee Horn, Ben Altura, Phil McDougall, and then Jamie Dory at the rear of it. We head up towards turn number 1. Horn is going to go to the inside of Pittas, and Horn is getting the push here from Altura. As they go across the timing line, Pittas falls in behind. He drops in line in 5th position as well. Trying to drop in line there, but it's a little bit harder than he normally would have. It looked like it caught out McDougall and Dory in that, with a little bit of an accordion effect going on between the two drivers. Once again, Doble and Andrews are getting close up at the front, but I think Doble is racing for the last lap. He is not going to be trading positions throughout this race. He's just going to wait to take the victory on the last lap of asking. I do believe that is what is happening towards the front of the order here. Max Andrews, though, is still leading the way. That was a big swerve from Phil McDougall as Jamie Dory now looks to try and get the inside on the double right-hander. And the number 13 machine makes his way past the 105 and gets into 6th place. Up ahead then, Lee Horn still leading on 3rd position ahead of Ben Altura. Altura gets right onto the rear end there. Powers out a lot earlier than he has done in previous laps. It doesn't help him out in the long run, but it did get him very, very close onto the rear end of Lee Horn. We now head out towards the end of the lap here and approaching the final 3 laps of racing action for this first season of competition in the Toyota GR86 Cup. We head out of the final braking zone and onto the main straight. Ben Altura is getting the tow from Lee Horn. Are we going to see position changes? Of course, these drivers do need to make the overtakes, otherwise they'll come under attack. Isaac Doble at the front of this one does not have to make the overtake. He can stay behind Andrews all the way until the end of this one and go for the position at the end. Behind, however, if they Altura does stay behind, but if they do that when you've got cars around you like they do, it could lead, as that was both Horn and Altura jumping over the curve just a little bit there, both of them sliding their way through turn number 1. It could lead to them being swallowed up by the cars behind, so they can't just sit behind and hope for the tow, because this is what's going to happen. Ben Altura stays behind Lee Horn. It invites Pittas in for it. Horn goes defensive. Pittas could care less. He's going to go to the inside line, and he is going to make it 3 wide through turn 4. A push from Jamie Dory, who tries to capitalise from all of that. And Jack Pittas makes the double overtake into turn number 4. What a move from Pittas. And it's invited Jamie Dory well and truly into a hunt for a third. Now he's on the outside line. On Horn, it turns to the inside. Jamie Dory moves up the position, and here comes Ben Altura. That's what you get from Ben Altura for sitting behind Lee Horn. He didn't want to make the move, and Lee Horn goes around. It was a nudge ahead with Dory. He loses the rear end, and after fighting for a podium, Lee Horn will be out of contention. Ben Altura slows. Oh, is this potential for Ben Altura that he thought that was his fault? Or did he pick up a slowdown? Because he's still going slow here. I think he might think that's his fault. Which the secondary contact that sent Horn around certainly was. But the primary contact, I mean, that was nothing that Altura could have done with any of that. Because the primary contact with Horn came with Dory. He then wobbled, but Ben Oucher is giving back the time here. He's going to give up the position. They've swapped onto the penultimate lap. With a bit of contact, Isaac Doble tucked to the inside of Andrews. They've swapped around, and now they're going to go for the fight. They've still got one more lap to go after this, but Isaac Doble leads the way. Max Andrews in second. Both of these drivers looking for their third win of the season. Andrews stepping in at Zolder, I think it was, where he ended up taking a win in the final race of the day. He's not been here all season long. Doble's had to miss a couple of weeks, but he's been here a bit more frequently. He took 2 wins all the way back at Mugello. Can he take a win finally in this one? Doble and Andrews side by side up towards the final sector. We approach the last lap of the race. Andrews drops in behind. That's the place you want to be. Going on to the last lap, surely, is behind. But he's not going to go for the toe. He goes to the inside into the braking zone. Doble brakes early. He's going to look for the speed on the exit and the toe on the final lap of asking. Isaac Doble is trying to play the game to the very end here as we come on to the final lap of the season. Max Andrews has won 2 races. Isaac Doble has won 2 races. Who is going to win their third? They come onto the brakes up towards turn number 1. Andrews on a wider entrance. It could upset him into turn 2. Doble trying a slightly different line for the speed on the exit. McDougall goes purple in the background as we head up towards turn number 4. Andrews is on the left-hand side as far as he can go. Doble is going to place it on the right-hand side. He is going to go for the move on the outside line here. It's going to go the way of Andrews for the time being, but Doble can keep his nose in there side by side into the middle of the circuit as we head to the infield. It's side by side for the lead. It's battles behind as well, but we'll keep an eye on this lead fight for the time being. Doble has the inside on Andrews. It's deep from Max, and he is going to drop behind, but he will have the advantage of the slipstream at the very end of this one. Behind, Potter and Horn get past Oucher once more as they fight it out for 6th position. Pittas holds on ahead of McDougall and Dory. They're fighting it out for 3rd position. But up towards the final turn, Doble is ahead of Andrews. He needs the speed here. Andrews needs a good run to get the toe. It's 0.2 of a second here. I think this could go the way of Doble, but he is going to get swallowed as the line gets closer and closer and closer. Max Andrews swings out really early to the right-hand side. It's going to be a drag race to the line. It's going to be a drag race. Who's going to come out on top? Across the line, Max Andrews wins by 0.07 of a second. Max Andrews takes the checkered, and behind, it's going to be a 3-way fight across the line. But Potter beats Horn and Outra. What a way to end the season. Max Andrews takes win 3 and the only driver to take back-to-back race victories in the same evening. Max Andrews wins at the virtual Interlagos circuit. Isaac Doble comes home in 2nd. Jack Pittas taking home a podium in the final round of the season. McDougall beat Dory by 72 thousandths of a second. It was then Potter beating Horn and Outra in that drag race to the line. Stopped 2 laps down and down pit lane. Out of the race was also Mark Hughes and Adam Wilson-Weir. What an evening of racing that has been. What a season of racing that has been. And for Ben Outra, it wasn't the final race that he would have been hoping for from the 504 machine. But Ben Oucher is your champion this season. Let's have a look then at the final results of the final race here this season. Max Andrews takes victory number 3, 7 thousandths of a second ahead of Isaac Doble. Jack Pittas comes home in 3rd position ahead of Phil McDougall. Jamie Dory takes home 5th ahead of Thomas Potter. Lee Horn in 7th ahead of Ben Oucher. As I say, Nigel Stock, Mark Hughes and Adam Wilson-Weir all out of the race. And this is then how the championship ends up. Ben Oucher is your champion at the end of this evening's events. He takes the championship ahead of Jack Pittas, Adam Wilson-Weir in 3rd position, and Isaac Doble comes out ahead of Jamie Dory at the end of it to take home 4th. Phil McDougall takes home 6th in the championship ahead of Lee Horn. Nick Clibbins in 8th position ahead of Max Andrews and Nigel Stock at the very end. Then outside we had William Guthrie taking 11th ahead of Benjamin Gregory and Alan McCain. Thomas Potter ended up finishing in 14th position ahead of Lewis Mason. Matthew Jordan in 16th ahead of Mark Hughes, Carl Thompson, Mark Kent and Ross Gillette. It was then Michael Wade finishing the championship in 21st position ahead of Joshua Downing. Mark Sykes in 23rd ahead of Matt Gatter. Adrian Hernandez taking 25th position ahead of Aidan Coleman, Drew Halloran, Jack Brown, Archie Bennett and Dan Beckett. And at the back of the championship was Jonathan Berry and Stin Waitons. What a fantastic season it has been then for this man here. Ben Oucher. It was a total of 6 race victories, and he beat that man, the 28th of Jack Pittas, in the 2nd race of the day here in the final round of the season. What a fantastic season it has been, and we will end it all off with a couple of interviews at the end of that one. We'll talk first to the man who missed out on victory and the final stages of that last race, Isaac, 7 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great race there with Max at the end. He was so battling really well throughout, managed to get away from the pack and towards the line, just pipped me by 7 thousandths. So
it was a great evening of racing for you all around, though. You managed to get double podium in that one. Race number 1, we'll have to discount that one. What went wrong for you? It looked like a little bit of a touch and you just weren't able to pull it back.
yeah, it was a shame in race 1. I was sort of just sitting behind the leaders waiting for an opportunity to get through, and just a little bit of contact through one of the last few corners sent me spinning, and I couldn't really recover there towards the end. But the other 2 races managed to get 2nd in both, which is good, and it was good fun.
It did, and that 2nd meant that you confirmed 4th position in the championship ahead of Jamie Dory, so I think that's always good news.
Yeah, that's good. Obviously, I missed a few rounds of these this year, but it's good to see I'm still high up in the championship.
Indeed, well, it'll be nice to see you down on track again in the future, Isaac. Well done on the double podium, and good luck for the rest of your races in the real world and in the virtual world this year.
Thank you very much.
Isaac Doble there coming home in 4th position in the championship. We will call that a day in a moment, but before we do, we did talk to him at the end of race number 2 when the championship was officially his. But Ben, let's discount the final race. We saw you drop behind there, but it has been a fantastic season of competition for you. You've taken 6 wins over the course of the season. It accumulated here. Just talk us through that final backing off. There was contact, obviously, with Lee Horn. Not your fault. Horn had already had contact, but you still backed off anyway. Was that because you thought it was your fault?
Yes, I did think it was my fault, actually, because I couldn't quite see where the corner was, with Jamie being right in front, with him being on my right, and I thought I'd turned in and not left him enough space. But looking back at the replay, there's plenty of room, and he's got sideways himself. I think he's just touched the back of Jamie or so, and it's unsettled the front.
Yeah, so it was a shame to see you drop back in that one, though.
Well, I was enjoying racing with Lee there, so I just dropped back to race with him and Thomas for the last couple of laps, since there was nothing really on the line for me. So I'd rather enjoy some racing than yeah.
Well, these slower cars have certainly come out in your favour. We wouldn't say that's always the case. Obviously, you are quick. No matter what we see you out there in, we see in a number of different leagues, and you're always finding yourself towards the front. This has been a very dominant in terms of overall race victories for you. The consistency was not quite there. The way that these 3 races go, you've got the top 15 invert, you've got the full invert. Do you think that that really changes how you have to approach these events and how the consistency for Jack has been there, for example, and how he was able to keep up with you despite only winning twice?
A lot of my inconsistencies has come from other people's incidents that have spun me out or put me into a wall as well. So I don't really think it's changes how you drive, how you approach. You just have to be a little bit more wary of the other cars that you're not necessarily used to being around. They might do something that you're not used to seeing somebody do, and it just catches you out a little bit, or catches somebody else out a little bit, and you get caught up in it.
Wow. Overall, though, it came out in your favour. Championship, Ben, congratulations and well done on what has been a fantastic season of racing.
Yeah, thank you very much, mate.
Ben Outra there, taking home the championship at the end of the season here. He managed to do it in the second race of the day. With that all being said and done then, the NXTGEN Racing's Toyota GR86 Cup for season number 1 is at a close. After 7 amazing rounds of racing, it all heads off here. And it has been a very hot evening for everyone, so we will get this one all closed and shut down. We look forward to seeing you out there again in the future for the next set of races. New leagues will be announced very, very shortly to get yourself involved in and to watch here along on the NXTGEN Racing channels. We've still got the final 2 rounds of the GT3 Championship, the next one coming up on Thursday, and then the final round of the NXTCC next Tuesday as well. Make sure that you are not missing that one. And then you can catch those on the official NXTGEN Racing broadcast pages on YouTube and on Facebook. And if you are watching over on the Joseph Wright broadcasting channels, we will be back live this weekend. We've got the TCRs back out again on Friday, and then we'll be heading out for the next set of races in the Porsches and the British Touring Car Series on Sunday over on the Joseph Wright broadcasting channels. Make sure you're hitting the follow button and subscribe buttons over there as well. But from here, it is good evening from NXTGEN Racing and from Joseph Wright broadcasting. We hope you have a fantastic week ahead of you. We'll see you on Thursday here on NXTGEN for the GT3s, but from the Toyotas, it is good night and goodbye. The season is over. Congratulations to Ben Oucha for the win. Commiserations to Jack Pittas, just missing out in the final round at the final hurdle. But what a season fight it has been. Until next time, we hope you have a wonderful evening and goodbye.